So, did you know there is a psychological term for when a person tends to perceive a connection or pattern with just like random things that are going on around you? Like for example, I remember it was middle school and someone got a slice of pepperoni pizza from the school cafeteria and they pulled it up and they're like, "Look, it has the word I spelled out on pepperoni." So, if you know someone like this, or if you have even experienced it, because it is pretty common, this psychological term is called,
Apophenia.
and there's different types of.
Apophenia.
The first one is focuses more on shapes, kind of like I described. This essentially caused the theory of the man in the moon with how the moon's craters looks like a man's face. And there's some other different ways, like if you go and watch clouds in the sky and you point out different shapes, like a dinosaur or a kitty cat or a old man looking down at you. Now, there is another form of this, and this is mostly on the form of delusion, or in some very severe documented mental health cases, this form tends to also be diagnosed as schizophrenia. In this form, regardless if it's on the more mild or severe side, this associates to when a person that is experiencing,
Apophenia.
they start finding conspiracy theories or even messages directed to themselves. Some people refer to them maybe as the aluminum foil hat people, with the aliens trying to send them messages and stuff like that. There's really no proof that someone is out to target them or these conspiracy theories are actually happen. But in some ways, this leads to the very third and final type. And I will disclose I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse by any ways or a psychiatrist, but these are just the three main ones that I read about for this episode. And the third one is often associated to something spiritual. This can be someone going to church on Sunday and practicing religious beliefs or doing research with what they believe in. And then this also goes into another type where some people might refer to this as being psychic. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, because I feel like whenever COVID-19 or you hear COVID-19 happen, you're like, okay, this makes sense that what I'm about to say, happened because the weirdest stuff happened in COVID-19. Now, in COVID-19, there was a rise for adventure type applications on mobile phones. And some people downloaded Pokemon Go. Some people downloaded geocaching, where you would try to find treasures with hidden coordinates and clues, essentially. But there was one app that went viral in June of 2020. And this had such a large popularity. This brought out almost every single type of person out there to try this app because it was just so unreal with what people were finding. And it's one thing like when one or two person finds something obnoxious or just really out there, but when you're pulling hundreds and hundreds of videos of people just finding things that look like straight out of a horror movie, of course, that's going to start rising curiosity. That's going to start making people want to download this app just to see what it is. And that leads to internet trends. And then next thing you know, people are trying to get internet famous. And don't get me wrong, there are some internet trends out there that are fun. Don't get me wrong, I'll participate in a dance here and there. But sometimes not all internet trends are just as innocent as TikTok dances. So when June of 2020 happened and everyone was wanting to download these adventure apps to essentially go out there, have fun in a safe way during the pandemic, this one app was promoting adventure, but how the app had its hype, it gave a sense of marketing to people that unlocked their psychic abilities. In fact, this app also advertised itself to be one of the first apps out there to promote quantum algorithms. And for someone that has studied multiple years in computer algorithms, we will have a fun time debriefing this algorithm. But what people didn't realize was the dangers this application truly did bring. And in fact, this app is still on the store. You can read about it. There's plenty of reviews, and I'll show a couple of my favorite throughout this episode. But yeah, today we're going to be going over the mobile phone app Rando Nautica. So, hi, cyber defenders, and welcome to the Cyberspeak Labs Defenders and Lab Coats podcast. This is a podcast where true crime does meet cybersecurity. My name is Reanna Schultz, and I'll be your aide today as I guide you through different learning opportunities here in Cyberspeak Labs. Now, this episode specifically, we will be hitting some heavy topics that I want to give a disclaimer to. User discretion, or I guess listener discretion, if you're in your car, hopefully not watching videos, listener discretion and user discretion is advised through this. Now, this episode will be going over the dangers of how one internet trend created permanent psychological damage to its users. And I'm going to be honest, there were times I had to take a break doing my research for this episode because just wow. Just wow. But with that being said, we're going to be discussing a little bit of safe tips with how to use apps like these, the venture type apps, and then also information for parents with these internet trends, because this is not going to be the last one. It is still happening. We're heading into I'm looking at my clock right now. We're heading into the end of 2025 into 2026, and this trend is not slowing down. So it's been a trend for going into 5.5 years, almost into 6. So it's pretty crazy. Now, with that being said, because of the research that's going to be discussed in this, I believe in transparency for people that truly want to learn about the dangers of this. If you do not want to hear about gore, crime scenes, violent cults, anything related on that, stalking as well might be hit here and there, or some forms of it, please be careful listening to this. Please, if you at any moment feel the need to pause, please do pause, take a break. This is a heavy hitting episode, and I absolutely care about you guys. So please make sure to listen with discretion. And if not, I'll see you again in the lab for another episode. So, one last thing. I know, I talk a lot. One last thing is I always like to promote a nonprofit, especially with the tech industry. And if someone really just wants to get out there, help, or maybe they might need assistance from this nonprofit, we are promoting in the lab today the nonprofit called Cyber Civil Rights Initiative. This nonprofit aims to bring support and awareness who are victims of image abuse, cyber stalking, or anything related. So if you do want to learn more about this, feel free to go to www.cybercivilrights.org. So without further ado, let's enter the lab to learn. Now, I do want to go over an incident debrief real quick with Rando Nautica. And before we dive too much into the technological mechanics and the cyber components of this app and the dangerous things that come with it and some of the dangerous things that people did with this app, I will say, if you have ever watched the Blair Witch Project, you can literally go on your phone and type Rando Nautica finds abandoned buildings or abandoned Rando Nautica into Google or even YouTube. Some of the stuff that gets populated back, and I'll flash some images on my screen as well if you're watching the video, but some of the stuff literally looks like the Blair Witch Project. And I'm like, why would people waste a beautiful Saturday morning and go out to the woods in the random location to go find a random abandoned building that looks like something straight out of Texas Chainsaw or the Blair Witch Project? And I'm just like, maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I want to sleep in on Saturdays. I don't know. But it's just bro, what? Now, the incident I'm going to be specifically discussing does not look like something from the Blair Witch Project, but I do want to have a quick disclaimer. And this goes for any type of true crime research or any research that involves a victim and their families. please do be respectful. In this instance, the families have reached out to media outlets and true crime podcasters multiple times, discussing that they don't want their victims to have their name drops. They want their victims to rest in peace. The family is trying to move on from a very horrific incident. So I will not, out of the respect for the families and respect for their loved ones that have passed, I will not be mentioning the names. I will not be going into the police investigation side of this. I am mainly focusing on here the technology side of this app. I will be talking about the leading up to the crime scene and how the crime scene was found. But again, just for the respect of the families, I will not be mentioning it. And same goes for you. I really hope as well that you guys, if you do your research, the story is out there. It is very public. But again, right, think about before posting, think about before, name dropping, just keep those families in mind and, just please be respectful as well. So this started in the summer of 2020 in Seattle, and a group of teenagers were making the best out of their summer vacation. It's high school, and I could not imagine being in high school during a pandemic. I would just be bored out of my mind. I would get stir crazy. My family would absolutely drive me nuts. But you know what? Good for these friends, wanting to do a safe summer activity. And so they heard about this app called Randonautica. And from what I gathered is they were kind of playing with it, trying to ask it and just see what coordinates it gave it, because that essentially was how the app was marketed. You would download the app and you would essentially pick a theme. I'm definitely not saying the technology terms right for this app, but essentially you would pick a theme. Like, hey, I want to see beautiful beaches. I want to see something blue. I want something new and very calm. And so this app would give you random coordinates using its quantum algorithm, and that's where it would take you. So these kids, of course, kids be kids. I remember asking Siri a lot of things I would never ask as an adult, especially one that works in cyber now. But I can see where these kids were going from. They're just innocent. They're just playing with this app. And so one of the friends was like, let's ask for a crime scene, essentially. Let's see if he'll give us something scary like a crime scene. And they're like, oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And so they gather around the app, it gave its coordinates, and you can see the kids in their video that they uploaded this to TikTok. And you can kind of see that they were laughing. They were somewhat, I think a few of them were uncomfortable because they had no idea what they were walking up to. And of course, like, what teenager actually wants to go see a crime scene or see where something intense happened?
Bro.
And again, right, curiosity is always, in my opinion, part of maturity and growth, especially becoming into a young adult. But you could just see how uncomfortable some of the kids were in this video. And of course, I always try to put myself in the shoes of these kids. And I would be thinking in my mind, it's kind of like when you watch a scary movie, you're like, oh, I know it's fake. I know this is Hollywood, until you get to the end of the movie and it's like based off of real life events. You're like, oh my gosh. But with this instance with the kids, if I was in their shoes, I would probably, be trying to calm down my internal anxiety and just be like, it's just a phone app. Like, it has no idea where a crime scene is. It has no idea if we're going to see someone laying, on the ground or whatever. And so as the video continues on, you can see them pull up to I would say a beach. I'm not from the Seattle area, so I don't know if there's a bunch of lakes or whatever. So I would assume a beach. It's very rocky. It looks like there's a dock and a pier. And when they got there, they had to park the car and start walking on foot. And so you can see all the kids kind of laughing and giggling, like, oh, we're not going to find anything. And, the kids being kids. And then the cameraman catches a black suitcase.
Guys, we found a suitcase at the beach.
Gabby, go. I'll hold your stuff.
Bro. Wait, open it.
In the corner of the screen. And you can hear the kids go, "Oh my gosh, do you think there's something in this suitcase? Let's go check out this suitcase." And the group slowly gets closer. And as you watch this video, the group slowly becomes silent. And then you can hear someone go, "Oh my gosh, it smells. This bag smells."
Open it. It stinks, y'all.
And you can see one of the kids open the bag and they're just like, "This is not right. This smells terrible." It washed up. It's
Oh. Oh. Okay, so she made. Okay, so she's calling the police so we can see if it's actually a dead body or it's just food.
And the fast forward to a young girl in the group, and she's calling the police, and you can hear the cameraman going, "Yep, she's calling the police to see, if there's actually if this is garbage or if there's something in this."
Found a suitcase on the point in Alpha Beach. And
Yeah, here's the crime scene.
And so when the police got on scene, they dismissed the group and they're like, "Okay, like thanks guys. We'll take it from here. How'd you guys come across this?" And they were like, "Oh, we were playing Randonautica. And we asked, it to see a crime scene or whatever." And the cops were like, "Okay, whatever. It's the pandemic. Just go home. Thank you for reporting it. We'll go on our day." And usually with US law enforcement, they typically don't reach back out to the reporters, especially if it's someone that's a minor or there's a group of minors. They're not going to call up and be like, "Hi, thanks for reporting this first degree murder." Like, yeah, cool, you saved a good one for us. Like, no, they're not going to do that. Usually that's going to be a lot of media inquiries. There's going to be a lot of calling families, investigations, forensics, all of these stuff. And the kids were watching the TV, they're kind of looking at local news that was trending in their area, and they came across suitcase found on beach that contains parts. And so they were led to a legit crime scene that was caused by this app. And so the question is, how? And for us to answer how, we need to definitely dive in a little bit more about this app itself. So, typically, when I do my research on technology and applications, I want to emphasize the importance of the legal and ethical side of this, especially if someone's interested in doing, I would say, any research. Uh, Reverse engineering an app. So, taking an app, putting in a product, maybe doing it yourself on your computer, and ripping it apart to understand the behaviors, the processes, how it works, and everything. It can be illegal to do. So when I do stuff like this, especially for like the podcast or anything else on my YouTube channel, I really want to emphasize I heavily focus on open source intelligence, also known as OSINT. I also like to focus on the reviews, maybe forums, videos of people doing it. And I like to gather information that I can, especially with this instance, this app. It is posted on their website that they do not authorize any of that whatsoever. They will set up their own, I will say, conversations, their guidance, their legalities. And so it's just really, really important, especially if you decide to do this on your own, to make sure that the proper approvals are in place. Really make sure that you have spoken to a lawyer or even local governing law enforcement, just to make sure that you're not doing anything with ill intent, that you're not doing anything that is illegal. Because again, it's really important that this community in cybersecurity is used for very positive things, for education purposes. And I really want to promote that as well. So I did my own research, kind of like what I said. And again, I just want to focus on the privacy policies, the terms and conditions, some reviews. And I will say, looking at the first 5 seconds, and I'll post pictures of the things I didn't really like or things that kind of made me feel icky on the screen. If you are driving, I will do my best to essentially talk about this. Or if you're not able to watch the video, I'll try to give a high level description of the things that I am seeing that I didn't really feel good with. And like I said, the first 5 seconds of just looking at the website for this application, I was already turned off by it. I personally would not download it. I did not download it for this video just because of just how uncomfortable I was just reading their website alone. I haven't even got to the reviews. I opened up the website and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I will be honest with you because I do believe in transparency. If I was a teenager, like I think back to myself when I was 16, 17, I grew up super rural. I had a lot of cows. I had a small town. So this honestly, if this app was around when I was younger, I absolutely would have downloaded it. I would have got into a car with all of my friends going to these random coordinates, which probably would have been cornfields. But this is something that would have intrigued me when I was younger. As an adult now, that I would say probably has a good foundational understanding how technology works, like, being a professional in cybersecurity, I absolutely would not download it. Like, and I guess one word to describe the things that I read, it was just uncomfortable. Um, and maybe it's because, like, I understand a little bit more about marketing and, clickbait and stuff like that, but it's uncomfortable to me. And there were a lot of vague descriptions, a lot of large, uncommon words, in my opinion, that an average person in society most likely would not use at all. Words such as entropy and quantum. Like, to me, this gave it a marketing appeal to make it sound more educated, sophisticated, and they are really trying to push, like, this app is from another dimension. It feels like you're being transported. We're really using your internal abilities. And I had to see, like, what type of marketing term was this, because I see it every once in a while. And again, it kind of makes you feel like gross. And I did find it. And it's called cult marketing or brand tribalism. And this type of like marketing brand really preys on customers trying to feel like they have a sense of community, like they promote really obsessive social media posts and following. And Randonautica, in my opinion, absolutely hit the nail on the head with this one. In fact, yeah, let me read you the one that stood out to me that made me kinda uncomfortable, like, within the first 5 seconds. The phrase is, "Your mind is your guide." I'm sorry, but what? And, like, it's a phone application. This is an application you were downloading from the App Store to have an adventure with, and it's promoting that your mind is your guide. And I kinda later in the episode, right, I kinda understand what it means a little bit, but, like, at face value, I like, "W bro, what?" And it's not like your phone is bugged, hopefully not, or like a USB is being inserted into your brain that's connected to your phone for this app. Like, this isn't Futurama. And in fact, I read somewhere, I forgot what it was. I believe it was from a philosopher, and I have to find it, that humans are one of the only species that has been researched that can have multiple thoughts going on at the same time. And if you think about it, it's true. Like, I have my beagle dog and I love him dearly. But the moment he's eating food, it's like I don't exist. Like, his brain immediately goes to food. That is his focus. He can't listen. He is focused on putting food in his mouth and then going outside to use the bathroom shortly after. With humans, like, we're not like that. We pick up our phones, we scroll through social media while at dinner, and then we think about our day all at the same time, and then how the food tastes in our mouth, and then what we're smelling. And it's just all of our different senses create all of these different unique thoughts. Now, again, I don't know if that's true, if we are the only species or not. I just remember reading about it. But regardless, if you take that mindset and you think about how your mind is your guide, I'm sorry, but, like, logistically, there's no way we have a computer that can process that level of brain power through a mobile device, that we replace every 2 years, if not sooner. Like, that just makes no sense. To me, there is no scientific research, that really promotes this. And I get that some people really think their phone could be tracking them. I'm not disregarding that fear. It is a legit fear, and there are tons and tons of conspiracy theories. We kind of go back to what we said earlier, that, the FBI is listening to them or whatever. And I could do a whole other podcast episode for that for another day about if your phone is bugged or not. But in reality, most of it on why people think your phone is bugged is because of the daily conversations we engage with or the apps we engage with. They might have had a conversation with someone, and next thing you know, they're getting an ad for their product. And again, in reality, it's based on how you interact with your mobile device. There is a saying called a digital footprint, and it's literally the collection of all of the data interaction that you have and share, and it creates an online profile for you. And it's really scary if you start thinking about the kids and the teenager side of this and how data is collected and harvested, and it will literally follow them the rest of their life. It is more permanent than a tattoo, in my opinion. But how adults don't understand, or there is a subcategory that doesn't understand, every single time that you might input your age, your gender, or how you talk on social media, how you will do XYZ, what the YouTube videos you watch. This is all building a digital footprint profile of who you are as a person. And so if you might be calling your mom and you're like, "Hey, did you see this new thing about how to clean your cast iron pans?" And the next thing you know, you might be getting ads for this cast iron pan. It's probably because you've watched YouTube videos about it or TikTok videos, or maybe in your general location, people that are roughly the same age and gender of who you are also looking at the same thing. And so this is where a lot of people get that conspiracy of that their phone is bugged, their phone is tracked. So kind of going back to Randonautica, if you remember the beginning of the episode, we discuss epophenia. And this app really harvests the thought that the users, their customers, are using their minds to create adventures and finding essentially a new guide to life. And so people that don't really understand the digital profile side of things, this is where, that sense of reality that someone's fabricating really comes into play here. So, with that being said, with your digital profile as well, this can come addicting. I remember my geocache phase. You get badges, you get added to group chats, you get all of this stuff. You're building a community, and people are talking about all of this, all of the cool finds that they've had. This app acts in a similar way. It's giving that sense of community. It's really pushing people like, hey, join our group chats, join our channels, post on social media, use this hashtag, right? And so now you're establishing a community. And so outsiders looking in, it's almost giving FOMO, fear of missing out, because these people are finding really cool buildings, really nice art sculptures. And so it's creating this large, endless pool of users. And in fact, within the first couple of years of this app being dropped, they hit a couple million downloaders for this app. And that's because of how large their community was really pushing and promoting as well. So anyways, again, me, right? Settle brag on me for a second. Me, of who works in cyber, who works in technology every single day, who teaches this on the side, someone who has a foundational understanding with data usage, I would say it makes me uncomfortable with how the market is being pushed. Again, right? We talk about that sense of community, that FOMO, and the promotion of this is just out of control. Again, it's just, that's not how technology works. You can't be like I'm holding my phone, show me $1 million, you know, and then I get coordinates. Like, no, otherwise everyone would have $1 million. Again, that's not how it works. But I was kind of reading the website again. We got past the your mind is your guide. And this is just me as a consumer. I'm not trying to like harsh on their website. It was super easy to navigate. There's a lot of good usability features here, but like again, the marketing was the turn off for me here. And the phrase vibes to describe a product, oh my gosh, like it just it makes me it makes me feel not good. It's like we're trying to relate to a specific generation, and it's just like, "Oh, yeah, it's got high vibes." I don't know what that means. I don't know what high vibes mean, but cool, bro. And, it's just again, like, I talk about the channel pushing, like, I have never seen an app like, this is where it made me feel super, super uncomfortable, if I was a parent letting my child download this, was how pushy it felt for someone to be involved in their Reddit channel, for someone to be involved in their Telegram. Like, I never really have seen an app, especially one that's this popular, really promote, you know, that sense of community on a separate platform. And like I don't know, like specifically apps like this, it's okay to have a Discord channel. Like there might be Reddit threads and stuff like that. And I feel like that's common, but like the fact that it's really trying to cater its audience to like, hey, make sure you post in this thread, make sure you post in that thread, make sure you engage, make sure you comment. Like we really want to hype this up. And you know, it just feels like a red flag to me. It's like you're paying influencers without paying influencers, and, like, it almost feels like a cult, and this is where we go back to the tribal branding here. It feels gross to me, and I don't know. I don't like it when I'm redirected to, like, a separate communication platform. Like, if I wanna go and talk and just kind of browse without feeling like I have the urge to post about it, like, I will, and I am in part of, like, a lot of gardening communities that do that. I also like, I go back to geocache, like, I'm in a lot of geocache communities, but again, like, it just I don't feel comfortable when it's consistently pushed through the app, it's pushed through the website, it's pushed in the app store, it's just anywhere you look, there's a link to their Reddit page. Everywhere you look, "Oh, hey, check out Telegram, check out Telegram." Like, it doesn't make me feel good, it makes me feel gross, and I don't like it. It's like when you go to, like, the store and there's the people selling cell phone services next to the Legos, and you're just like, "Bro, I just wanna shop Legos," and they're like, "Hey, let's talk about your phone provider. How much does it cost you to have a phone line?" And I'm like, "Free. I don't believe in technology. I believe in Legos. Let me go." But yeah, anyways, it's just a red flag to me. And it just I don't know. I think it's a red flag because I feel like I lose a sense of privacy, when I'm just opening up to strangers to talk to or, especially when they do meetups and stuff. Like, it's gross because you don't know those people in real life, and you might think you do, but who people are online, sometimes and most of the time, they're not like that in real life, I promise you. So again, I'm not trying to make this podcast episode into a personal customer review or a personal risk assessment of this website and this app, but I think it's important that you guys understand my red flags and my icks for this app, because if you do decide to go look at it yourself, or if your kid or teenager has it, you know, you might think of it a little different. But what gave me the biggest ick of all was their FAQ page, frequently asked questions. Like this question in their FAQ is, what is a reality tunnel? And this is a phrase, reality tunnel, that is used very frequently with this app. And again, like this is a valid question. I don't even know what that is. So I click on it. And here's the answer. We define a reality tunnel as deterministic. That that is how it's spelled. Path your life is on. So again, back with the big words for no reason. And then it continues on with reality tunnels are influenced by factors that determine the relative frame of reality for a particular person. For example, the route you take to work, or even, subtle, perhaps subconscious influences on where you end up in the world and what you take notice of while you're there. So that is your reality tunnel. You're creating a different reality. And you're, again, I go back to the using your mind to let you guide, because high vibes. So, anyways, with all of it, and I don't know, with all the weird nebulous, see, I'm using big words too. Um, but again, right, the vague website is just it's just uncomfortable phrasing of stuff. I went to go see a little more of what this app does, just to get my understanding of the back end of it. Because in a second, I'm going to provide, right, my little technical insight to this, but I needed to see one more video, and I found the best video ever. And it was actually from the official Randonautica YouTube page. And the video, I will say, I love their YouTube page. It's very whimsical, it's cute. And so I'm sorry if anyone that works or uses Randonautica is listening to this podcast. I love your YouTube channel. And I'm sorry if whimsical is not the vibe you guys were going for, but high vibes over here, high vibes. And there were a lot of good YouTube videos. There's a lot of good tutorials. There's a lot of like it, in my opinion, a product should have a YouTube channel like this. Like it's just you can tell the developers, the executives, whoever is really like trying to put their face out there, they're doing a good job being engaged with the community. I will give them that. Mine is, again, I will forever fall on the fact I am not comfortable with how pushy Telegram or Reddit is on their product. But so I was kind of scrolling through, and there was one video that stood out to me. It was about 4 years ago. So it was roughly around 2021. And this video, it was one of their live videos, and it had over 8,000 views on the stream. And I can also tell, I hopefully I am right, but I'm very confident this video, they were using a Restream streaming platform. And for anyone that's like wanting to go into like streams or YouTube creations or just play on Twitch or whatever, I really recommend Restream. It's super usable. It's great. Allows you to have intros and outros. It has music that is copyright free. So 10 out of 10 recommend. I'm pretty sure this is what they were using. So when I saw that, I did like a little happy dance. I was like, hee 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 hee, they're using something I know. But besides the point, during this video, it looks like both their CEO and the COO of Randonautica. I really don't know how big this company is. I'm assuming it's smaller, just based off of the app itself. But anyway, so they were both on the stream and they were doing video reactions. So they had their live stream going, and they would pull videos of other randonauts. That's what they call their followers, randonauts. And they would go through and be like, oh yeah, I enjoyed how they did this. Oh wow, what a cool find. Like it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I might do something like that. So thanks for the idea, marketing team over there. But the CEO, I will say, in that video has stepped down now. I don't know why. I couldn't really find a reason. I assumed to like pursue other interests and in business and entrepreneurship. That's usually what happened. But when I did find this video, I was kind of watching through it and I was kind of skipping. And the first live reaction caught my attention because how the video was, and I'll post little blurbs of it here, but how the video was, she was able to showcase the full app, because again, I am not downloading this app at all. I want no association of this app on my phone. But I could see her use the full video, and even like the CEO and COO, they even acknowledge the fact like, oh wow, I like that she's recording the full app usage. And like, to me, that's nice and whatever, but you can watch her play it, and I'll play the video, but you can see her going through the app. She's recording her using the phone, and you see the loading screen, and on the screen you can see breathe, wait, think, all of these like whimsical phrases to really, in my opinion, calm your mind and really focus on your thought. And so when you focus on your thought, you're essentially trying to connect with the app mentally, and you're trying to give it an intent. And so this intent could be anything that you want. It could be, show me a giant ball of yarn. I'm looking for something happy. I'm looking for something blue. And it will give you, after a while, it'll generate coordinates, and it'll give you the coordinates. And then you go to the coordinates, and hopefully the intent that you were looking for was there. Now, this is where I'm kind of like, sure, whatever. So I don't remember her intent. So if you see it on the video, whatever. But I believe her intent was something haunted, something scary, like along those lines. And so the app, again, you can see the loading screen, which is 1000% a video clip or a GIF on the back end that's going through the loading process. But then you can see her take the coordinates, and she's walking. And so she walks through the coordinates, and there is what we can see here, a creepy doll face. I'm like, what? And of course, like, I don't know if she had put that there before. I don't know if it's been there. And so after seeing how the app is used, essentially, I was like, okay, let me really, really, really think about this. And I was thinking, okay, so say I want to go to a haunted house and I don't have this app. What do? I go to Google and I type haunted house near me or haunted house. And then what's Google going to do? It's going to provide me a general location that's nearest to me, because that's the default filters of haunted houses. And just just bear with me, because I'm going to be showing you a very ugly diagram of my hypothesis on how this app works. So if that's the case, and if we think about from a developer perspective for this app, I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying this is official on how the app works. Again, this is just my educated theory here. But what's most likely going on is that you have your app, and then maybe you probably have an API service from your app to a reliable hosted um, location platform. I would assume Google, since the app pops up with Google Maps or Take Me There. And that typically, again, all uses Google services and stuff for the coordinates and location. So I would assume it's Google service. So we're just going to put Google service here. Now, when we have that API service, uh, I'm assuming that the developers, because you can filter on the content that you want to give to your users. So I'm guessing they're taking the content, they're putting it in a bucket, and they are just putting the random coordinates. Because again, right, if we go back to the theory of, hey, take me to a haunted house near me, and you filter on location or reviews or whatever, I guarantee you could probably do that the same with coordinates. So you remove anything of relevance or reviewed or whatever, and then you can use that service to give coordinates to the users based off of the locations that they have. Because again, you have to enable location settings on the back end of the phone to understand where you're going. So again, if we go back to if we think about the beginning, where these kids had found a suitcase because of a crime scene, did they really find a crime scene? Or was it something picked up on Google that made it to their location coincidentally? So, anyways, that is that is my educated theory on this. Again, I'm not saying that's how it actually works. I'm not saying how it's true, but that is my educated theory on rando Nautica thingies. So, is it truly random? Probably. But is it designed by developer choice to be random? Probably. So, anyways, here is another video I wanted to show you guys of Rando Nautica being, well, random. And again, I'm kind of like leaning towards this educated theory of mine on how this app really works. Did it really find a crime scene? Are people just finding random things because of the intent that they're looking for? So anyways, this video is from a YouTube creator. He goes by the name CJ. I've actually watched some of CJ's content before. I totally forgot this corner of the YouTube existed until I was like doing research and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about CJ. And CJ's pretty entertaining to watch. You can tell like he's genuinely a nice person. he's definitely a cool dude. I would definitely shake his hand if I met him in person. But this video, it had over 360,000 views. So it was, in my opinion, one of the more popular ones that he uploaded with his Rando Nautica face that he had. I do believe he's still Rando Nauticing. So shout out to CJ for being awesome here. Now, CJ is located, or at least he did this video in New Jersey from what I read in the description and just kind of like fast forwarding through his video. And so I'm going to put little like screenshots of his video up here in some of the clips, but you can clearly see he's doing this at night. And again, this is where like as an adult now, um this is where I'm like, oh my gosh, I would definitely do this at 16, but not like in my 30s. Absolutely not. So you can see here in the video, it literally looks like a random place. You can see private property near the wooded area, and to me, it doesn't matter. Like, and again, this is like adult Reanna speaking. It doesn't matter if you're alone or with a group of friends. This like don't go in the woods at night, man. Like I go back to the Blair Witch Project. CJ, you're not in the Blair Witch, man. Like you're making YouTube content. Don't go in the no trespassing scary woods. And that's all I kept thinking when I was watching his video. But he is respectful. He is super respectful. Even like Rando Nautica, they have a section on their website that says do not do this at night. Do not go through no trespassing areas. Here's how you report it, which again goes back to my theory on then filtering out specific coordinates and areas as a population for this app. So anyway, CJ was super, super respectful with this. He even said at some point, he's like, yeah, bro, this is a no trespassing zone. And there's also security cameras, so who knows? But again, his intent here, he thought of dark secrets. So he opened the app, he hit populate or whatever it is, and he thought dark secrets, or he might have told the app dark secrets. I don't know. I kind of skipped that part on if he did it or not. But if we go back to my theory with this ugly topology, who knows what random bucket this got pulled out of in the Rando Nautica thing. And again, he ended up leaving this coordinate because it took him to a private property. You're not supposed to go to private properties. And I don't know, maybe it's like if I grew up like super rural, private properties in my area, they were used primarily for like wildlife preservation, or people would just have private property because they were planning on building on it at some point, or they use it as like farm storage equipment, or even some people have private property just for hunting game. And I don't know what the case was with this. I didn't see the coordinates that CJ had posted for me to go online and kind of creep and see where he was. But as he's leaving, he claims that he started hearing voices, and then he rushes to his truck super quick and leaves the property. And I will give CJ credit here because he is alluding, even like the thumbnail is super clickbait. I love it. But to me, he's alluding to the fact that there's a cult on this private property and he heard voices, and he even saw like a burn pile, like all of this stuff. Like it's very entertaining to watch. CJ did a good job in my opinion, but regardless, it's probably private property because there's security cameras and there probably was a motion and someone was out there looking to find like a random guy in the middle of the night, just like walking around with a camera and a flashlight being like, who's there, like obviously that's going to creep anyone out on both parties. So who actually knows why there was a person there, or if there actually was. Maybe it could have just been a really good video editing for the YouTube views. I mean, he got my view, so good job, CJ. Either way. So the app is trending based off of the marketing that's done. And again, it's not Rando Nautica themselves promoting this app, creating sponsor pages. It is the users that are being influenced to have, again, I will go back on that cult marketing, that tribal branding, where they're trying to build a sense of community, of following, really promoting the FOMO, like download it, be part of us, for doing fun things, for finding scary cult, no trespassing property stuff. So now I truly do believe the coordinates are random based off of the radius that you're giving it. I truly believe that because again, not everyone is going to be having the intent of being rich to find no money. Nobody's getting, I personally, right, I live in a landlocked state in the middle of the United States. And I doubt if I downloaded this app, I'm going to get coordinates over in Germany because of the radius that I am putting. So, regardless, it's to me, it's random. It still might be weird. It still might be unsettling, right? But to me, this theory is 100% random. And if you remember the story, I go back to the story. There's a reason I told the story in the beginning where the group of teens found that crime scene. Even the CEO and the CEO explained that it is truly random coordinates in their immediate inquiry, which to me, again, is very ironic for how they advertise their product with a journey within yourself. Like, no, you just admitted to the entire media that you guys had no associate. Like when things got real, it was just like, oh yeah, no, it's a random, like it's random, it's just random. It like we have no control of what's going on. Really? Do you now? Because you're saying that people can use their minds to control the app, and the kids wanted to find a crime scene as their intent, and now you're just saying that it's purely random. And yeah, so they're doing literally the containment phases of a lawsuit is all I hear. So of course, being me about things, I wanted to know more about the developers, specifically the CEO and COO, since they were the ones that founded Randonauts LLC. And there was one user, his name was Joshua, and he was a circus performer. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I could never do that. Absolutely not. And then the other guy, his name is Auburn. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. He worked at a TV agency. So I'm like, okay. So we have the theatrics here. We have knowing how to grab customer views, like all of this stuff is starting to make sense now. And in fact, Joshua, at that time when he was building Randonauts LLC with Auburn, he was part of a Telegram channel. This Telegram channel that he was in focused very heavily on fringe science. And I'm like, oh my gosh. We have fringe science. We have a TV agency expert. We have whimsical, artistic people. You put that all together, and what do you get? You get Randonautica, because everything part of this app is just purely random for no reason. And if you're like, Rihanna, what is fringe science? Why is this such a huge piece in this puzzle about this app? Fringe science, in my opinion, is the taboo, wild science piece of scientific discoveries. And you're like, Rihanna, that still doesn't make sense to me. Don't worry. I will give you a clear-cut example here. Think about teleportation. That is fringe science. Like, is it a piece of science? Sure, we can think about teleportation as science, but there's no data, there's no numbers, there's no like proven theories that this is truly possible. Instead, we just rely on DC Comics and Marvel to make teleportation a thing for us. And another example of fringe science, and I hope you're sitting down for this, is psychic science. And some people are going to be like, what? Yeah, think about it. Some people believe that they're able to find like crime scene evidence. They're able to find missing persons. They're able to find people's wanted pets through all of the psychic inquiries. Now, regardless of what you believe or what you don't believe, I'm very open-minded to anyone's opinions, 100%, and I am being absolutely respectful. But there was a huge piece of this to the marketing side of Randonautica. So the marketing team, I would assume Auburn here, it plays a very heavy part for its customers to come up with intent. So here they're using what is Joshua's, in my opinion, passions, fringe science, which I'm guessing is also psychic abilities. And then you have Auburn, who is a marketing wizard, and he's just like, let's do this. We can make this a thing. And regardless how a person downloads the app, if their intent is vocalized internally or externally, it guides them to a new adventure. And there have been speculations through different Reddit subs saying more people gathering around the phone to think of the same intent will make the outcome much, much stronger. And again, that relies on fringe science because there is some theories of believing with psychic abilities that if you have more people gathered around the table to make a stronger circle, then you can essentially talk to the dead or you're able to find what you're looking for essentially. So this is going all back to Joshua's passions with fringe science. And this is where Redditors and that community is really pushing the get more people involved. The more people you have playing, the stronger the outcome it is, the creepier the outcome is. You got to get people. It's basically marketing clickbait is what's going on here. And the thing is, there's no way to prove it. This is why it's called fringe science, because there is no data to show that it is a reliable source of having an adventure. It's a theory. It's something people believe in. So regardless of what some people think, what some people want their opinion in, it does, again, it makes great clickbait on this corner of the internet. And it's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably healthy in some way to have some small adventure and just see what else is beyond your neighborhood, essentially. Now, this is where my cyber educator hat comes on. Regardless of how this app functions or work or the true ways that it actually, has the back end mechanics, if you're a parent of a teen or kid who would 1000, I know I would, who would 1000% use this app for whatever way or even something similar, I truly believe to promote the safety side of using apps or pursuing internet trends like this. First thing is communication is extremely important when going on your own adventure. I know before you take an arrow to the knee, but I know at the end of the day, a kid will be a kid. They again, as of today, this app has over 10 million downloads, which is insane. And there are a handful of reports of people calling emergency services because they got lost and they didn't know where they were. There's people that also, we talk about the story above, they leave themselves with permanent life damage. They don't know when to call the police. Maybe police need to be involved. And also, like, listen to your conscience, right? Don't try to go find danger and bad things. Like, you would think that shouldn't have to be taught, but it is because you don't want to find yourself in a bad situation. So, online communities, this is my second piece of advice. Online communities are a normal part of our day to day. We have group chats, we have anonymous forums, we have Telegram channels, Discords, Reddits, you name it, it is out there at this point. Snapchat. Oh my goodness, Snapchat's a big thing. Again, these are great platforms to connect with other people who share the same interest. And however, this is also a great place for predators. And I wish I can fabricate that even more, but it's the world we live in. Uh, Predators are what they are. They prey. They prey for victims. And we did an episode a couple of weeks back in the lab about human trafficking. I highly recommend anyone to listen about it and learn more about online safety and all of this stuff. But it's disgusting. And but that's the world we do live in. Now, I do want to make sure, like, if it was me, I would promote conversations with your kids on how to have healthy communications, know how to spot potential threats. Like, hey, don't be giving out pictures that you don't want on the internet. If you don't want, my mom used to tell me, again, go back to like rural, my mom would be like, if you don't want your pastor to know what it looks like or want your pastor to read these conversations, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Of course, like now as an adult, uh, I mean, there's some truth to that. And kids will be kids at the end of the day. Again, exploring is absolutely safe in my opinion, but understanding how to identify good intent and bad intent is very, very important. Keeping your kids safe online. Again, earlier we talked about digital profiles. Those things will follow you. It just clearing your cookies does not make it go away. It just doesn't. And then additionally, check the settings on what apps are using what features. Not all apps need access to social media in your Gmail accounts. It's so easy. And I catch myself doing this too. It's just so easy to sign in with Gmail or sign in with Facebook on accounts or even like a news article you're reading. You're just like, oh my gosh. But again, this is how digital profiles are made. This is how data is shared. This is how data is collected. This is how data is essentially mined to create a unique internet experience for yourself. And you'd be surprised what like features apps use on your phone. And this is another way for data to be collected and data to be harvested, especially with Android. The amount of apps on an Android phone that need access to your camera, your voice memos, and your messages is insane. So I recommend anyone, like, it doesn't even have to be about Randonautica. Like, go in your settings, go on your apps, and just see how many apps use location services and stuff like that that don't need it. Like, why do they need it? They don't need it. It's just additional data that they're collecting and harvesting to build your profile. So, anyways, I'm really curious what you guys think. Comment below on what your theory is with Randonautica. Would you even let your child use it? Would you use it? I'm just genuinely curious here. And do you think there is actually some form of fringe science to this, or is it truly random, just based on a person's perception? So, anyways, I look forward to seeing you all again in the lab soon. Thank you for holding on to dear life with this episode. There was a lot going on here, but again, please don't pursue bad intents, regardless if you're on Randonautica or not. Stay safe out there, guys. See ya.
Randonautica in my nautica, bitch, ain't gotta go what? Oh, Randonautica in my nautica.